Hey guys, how you doing out there? First off, I want to say Happy Thanksgiving, and I hope you have a good Thanksgiving. Hope you get to spend time with the family, and hope it goes well. That you have a good dinner and everything. I'm going to do a bit of a book review here. Something real quick on that. I'll tell myself I really don't read a lot. I should, but I don't. And I'm finding out any hobby that you get into, you need to read. You need to read. There's a lot of good stuff on the internet, a lot of good stuff you can find. But sometimes there's good information in books that hasn't, that's not on the internet, or just different ways of putting it. Plus, you always have it handy with you. Today, I want to do a review on the U.S. Army Survival Manual. I was gifted this by Donny B. Go check out his channel. I'll have a link in the description. But anyway, thank you, Donny. This is a reprint of the Department of Army Field Manual. The Army has been putting these out for many years, many years. And I'd seen one, and I'd always wanted one. And as I said, Donny gifted it to me. It took me a little bit to read it, not because it's a hard read, but that's just the way I am. I'll read a little bit, put it down, forget about it, pick it back up, read a little bit. But anyway, I want to tell you a little bit about it. The book itself is about 256 pages long. It's like I said, it's not hard reading. There's a lot of good information. If I remember right, there's like 23 chapters. I'm going to go over some of the chapters real quick with you real quick. Of course, the introduction, then the psychology of survival. Now that's a good chapter. It starts out with stress, things that stress us in a survival situation, and how that can affect our chances of survival. Tells us about how we react to stress, different ways, and how to deal with that. So that's a good chapter. I was kind of shocked when I started reading that. At first, I didn't expect that to be in there, but great way to start the book out. Then they go into survival planning and survival kits, which is pretty much self-explanatory, but good chapter again. Then basic survival medicine. A lot of great information on survival medicine in this. Along with many of the other chapters in this book, I think this is a book that even if you didn't read it all the way through, which I'm guilty of doing a lot of times when I read something, if I get to something I think I already know about, or for whatever reason I might skip a little bit. But I think this is a great book to keep in your kit, to refer back to, whether it be on the shelters, fire making, the medical parts of it. You can read through it, get a little bit in your knowledge base there, but it might be handy to have in your pack when you're out in the woods or in a survival situation to rely back on. But anyway, then it goes into shelters, the different types of shelters. A lot of that's pretty good. Some of the information I knew a little bit about already, and if you've been into bushcrafting, camping and stuff for quite a while, you might find it, oh yeah, I know that stuff. But there's little hidden gems of information in there also that you'll find. The next chapter is on water procurement, which I thought was pretty good. Also, it talks about water purification, filtration devices, which can really come in handy, in a survival situation. And something I want to touch on at that point, which again involves all the chapters, you have to remember this is written from an Army military standpoint. So a lot of the subjects will deal with a soldier surviving. And a lot of the topics will involve areas that you may never run across. You know, something that maybe a World War II soldier, you know, fighting in the jungle. There's a lot of stuff in here that talks about, you know, surviving in the jungle, the types of animals you'll find in the jungle. Of course, World War II, you know, those that were fighting in you know, Asia, or you know, the islands and all that, kind of went ran together for a little bit. Of course, again, Vietnam. That would have been helpful information. It may not be as helpful to a guy living in the middle of the United States. But the next was on firecraft, and again, that's kind of like the shelter. There's a lot of stuff there that knew about already. But then again, there was some good information on fire lays. Different types of fire designs, telling you when's the best time to use them, what they're used for. Very helpful chapter. Food procurement. Again, that was pretty good, kind of basic. Again, it was more of on the lines for a soldier, but there's still stuff you can pull out of that for survival or bushcrafting. And survival, along with the food, is the use of plants and everything, and poisonous plants and dangerous animals. Those all kind of follow after each other. And again, some of the information may not pertain to the areas that you're in. That's helpful information. Then it talks about field expedient weapons, tools, and equipment. Again, a lot of good information. Some of it may never be helpful, but you know, in the middle of that is rucksack construction and lashing and cordage. You know, there's information there that could come in handy. As I said, if you keep that with you, you get in that survival situation, pull the book out, look at it. Oh yeah, that's how you do that. Then it talks about desert survival, and again, that's whether that's in your area, you know, whether that would be helpful or not. Tropical survival, and then cold weather survival. That's where I was wanting to get to. Now that was a very helpful chapter for my area. You know, it talked a lot about wind chill, cold injuries. Very helpful there, and in that they also touch on, again, the shelters, fires. In the cold weather chapter, it kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Touches on all the other chapters, brings them all into play in that cold weather survival. And then again, it's sea survival, water crossings. Now, the sea survival, you know, may or may not ever come into play, but crossing of streams and stuff like that, I really found that very handy information. It shows how to make a raft to put your gear on, different ways to cross if you're going by yourself, if you're with another person. The lineup you should use, you know, based on the height and weight of a person. Just the safe procedure for crossing the stream. Sorry if I'm kind of rambling a little bit. Didn't mean to, but direction finding was the next chapter, and that was a pretty good one too. Some stuff I hadn't thought of, you know, using the sun and shadows, using the moon. Talks about how to make an improvised compass. That was a really good part of that chapter. And then it goes into signaling and stuff, which of course in a survival situation would come in very, very handy. It tells the different types of signals to use when you're stranded, and also if you're not stranded, if you're just out in bushcrafting or camping, and let's say there's a flyover and they're, you know, thinking that you are stressed, you can let them know, no, you're fine, you're okay, go on. But then it gets into more of the military part, which is the survival movement in hostile areas. But if you come from a prepping, survivalist standpoint, you know, that may come in handy if stuff hits the fan. So, you know, there's some good points to be taken there. And then, you know, along with that, it talks about camouflage and contact with people. And then survival and man-made hazards, which gets into biological. And that is one that I read over, and I think I want to read over it again. Hopefully we never have to deal with a biological attack or a nuclear attack. But there's some good information there on water procurement, survival, all of that in food procurement in a biological and nuclear accident or attack. But anyway, my thoughts on the book: great manual to have with you, a great resource, something to have stuck in your pack. I would say, you know, wrapping that up so it doesn't get wet in a couple bags of plastic or something and sticking it in your pack. There's a lot of unusable information in here. I wouldn't say unusable. Maybe it doesn't pertain to you, or may not pertain to you at that moment. But it's a book I would highly recommend getting and reading through. I'll find a link and I'll put it in the description of that. But if you've read it, let me know your thoughts. You know, tell me what you thought of the book. You know, leave a comment down there. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. As I said, I don't read a lot of books, but I have a few books that I have read or in the process of reading. And I'd like to give a few reviews on them, and I don't want to give reviews on stuff just to be giving reviews. If I think it is helpful, you know, I'd like to let somebody know, or if I found it was a total waste of time, I may not do a video on that, you know, because somebody else may think that it's something they really enjoyed. So I probably won't do that, but anyway, check it out. Thanks for watching.